America preparing to send the Patriot missile system to Ukraine. That's a very advanced defense system. And obviously the main narrative for months now has been plenty of U.S. aid, but always Ukraine pleading for the biggest and best equipment to help that country in its ongoing effort. What does it mean that this particular system is on the verge of hitting the ground there in Ukraine?
Yeah, look, this could well and truly be, somewhat of a game changer there. If these Patriot systems are delivered to Ukraine, these are advanced, long-range, high-altitude air defence systems, which are relatively scarce around the world. As you mentioned, we've been hearing calls for months now from Ukraine to the US to supply it with these Patriot systems. Now, I'll tell you just a little bit about how they work. They have a radar which then finds an incoming target, an incoming projectile from a long way away at a high altitude. It is then able to shoot its own rocket off to blast down any of these incoming missiles. So, as I said, this could potentially be a game changer, just given this massive assault we've been seeing on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, with many people coming out over the last few days to say that we could be seeing a humanitarian crisis unfolding in the next few months, just given the fact that many people are without electricity, which means they're without heating, and many people remain without water. Now, this potential deal could be signed off on as early as tomorrow there in the US. But it is important to mention that, these Patriot systems wouldn't be delivered here on the ground, really quickly, because the staff here, the troops here, have to be trained how to use them. Now, we are hearing that this would potentially happen at a US military base in Germany. These Ukrainian troops would be sent over there to learn just how to use these systems before the systems being deployed here on the ground. But, as I said, this would really give Ukraine a bit of a boost to be able to detect these missiles coming in at a high altitude from a long way away to try and protect what it has left of this energy infrastructure. We're hearing around 50% of the energy infrastructure around the country has been severely damaged, which could take years to repair.
Just staggering to think about that. Half the country's energy infrastructure destroyed as winter gets underway. Last question real quick. I don't mean to catch you off guard here, but I think it's worth noting that Vladimir Putin, President Putin, did not have his annual multi-hour end-of-the-year press conference. And I'm just wondering how that's playing over there, because I've seen two made reads. One, he doesn't like the narrative in the war right now, didn't want to face the press. And two, also rumors that there are concerns about his health. What do we know about why that annual event did not happen this year? It's always in December.
Yeah, look, it is very interesting. Sitting in front of 1,500 journalists there, and we know that, public opinion is really starting to turn against Putin. Many people, are not happy with this so-called special operation on Ukraine. That's what he's calling it anyway. So, this comes really as Russia is facing some very heavy losses. It has conceded down there in the Kherson region, which is down in the south. It was occupied for most of this war, only recently liberated around a month ago. We're still seeing heavy shelling there. While Russia is really copping some heavy losses over in the east, in the Bakhmut region too, we're seeing, just devastating pictures coming in of, troops on both sides lying along the road. And it is, potentially set to change over the next few months, with winter, as you can see, well and truly setting in, which will cause the ground to freeze over, to harden up, which would then, allow for tanks to move either side. So it could see these Ukrainians push the Russians east, or the Russians potentially, which is a scenario we don't want to see, push the Ukrainians west. So, I guess right now him deciding not to hold this yearly press conference is a sign of what he's facing at home. And as you mentioned, we are hearing these continued reports coming in that Putin could be somewhat sick. He's been, seen in public shaking and, not really acting like the Putin that we've seen over the last few years.
Very interesting on multiple levels. All right, Sarah Coates reporting live there in Ukraine. Thanks for all of that great reporting this morning. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.